This is chapter 9 and 10 summaries. So, chapter 9 and 10 both really talk about and focus on contracts. So, by the book's definition, a contract is a legally enforceable exchange of promises or an exchange of a promise or an act. So, basically, this is a binding set of promises that the courts can enforce and is an agreement between both parties. There's 9 different classifications of contracts. These contracts include express contract, implied contract, unilateral contracts, bilateral contracts, void contract, voidable contract, valid contract, executed contract, and a Casey contract. The express contract is an exchange of oral or written promises between parties, and then implied contract is a contract that is established by the contract of a party rather than by the party's written or spoken words. Then the unilateral contract is an exchange of a promise for an act. A bilateral contract is an exchange of one promise for another promise. And those are really the contracts that stood out to me. And then there were 6 elements of the legal contract. The first one being legal offer, the second one being legal acceptance, the third being consideration, the fourth being genuine assent, and then 5 being competent parties, and then 6 being legal object. The legal offer, so this is an offer that shows objective intent to enter into the contract. It's definite and is communicated to the offeree. And then within the legal offer, it must show objective intent to enter into the contract. The offer must be definite and the offer must be communicated to the party intended by the offerer. The methods of termination of an offer, the first one is a lapse of time. So if it's not done within a timely manner of what the contract was. And then 2, death of either party involved. 3 was destruction of the subject matter. 4 was rejection by the offeree. And 5 was revocation by the offerer, which is just the offer withdrawing. Legal acceptance was an acceptance that shows objective intent to enter into the contract. That is communicated by proper means to the offerer, and that mirrors the terms of the offer requirements that must be met. So the requirements are an intent to accept must be shown by the offeree. The intent must be communicated by proper means. The intent must satisfy or mirror the terms of the offer. And Chapter 10 goes on to talk about discharge by performance. This involves 2 different types of performance, which is complete performance and substantial performance. Complete performance is the completion of all the terms of the contract, whereas substantial performance is the completion of a majority of the terms, but the parties are working on completing the rest of the terms. It also talked about how contracts can be discharged by performance, mutual agreement, conditions precedent and subsequent, the impossibility of performance, or commercial impracticability. And then it went on to talk about how businesses must consider different factors before filing a lawsuit. So if the lawsuit is not beneficial to them, if they're not going to profit from the lawsuit, they're not going to pursue that lawsuit and they're just going to let it go, basically. These factors include the likelihood of the suit succeeding, whether they wish to maintain a business relationship with the breaching party, the possibility of arbitrating the dispute through a third party to avoid litigation, the cost of arbitration or litigation as opposed to the revenues to be gained from enforcing the contract. So if they're not making enough profit, they're just gonna forget the contract if a lawsuit isn't worth them fighting. The remedies for a breach of contract include avoidance or cancellation of contract, right to remedy or cure, setting of additional time or extension, price and reductions, money damages, and specific performance.